Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bite Podcast with Raven and Ree. I'm your host, Raven.
And I'm your host, Ree.
And today we are continuing our 8-part. Wait, how many parts was this whole thing? It was originally just supposed to be 3, but.
This is our
fifth installment of 6. Okay. So
5 and 6. We're almost there.
We're almost there. We're at the home stretch. Baseball term? I don't know. Home stretch? Sounds like a baseball term to me, and we are starting off with the baseball chapter.
The game, chapter 21. Here we go. Probably one of my absolute favorites of Midnight Sun, and Supermassive Black Hole had never sounded better when I was reading this chapter.
It really ties it in.
Because, in Twilight, it's probably like 2 little pages before we get, the trio coming in. This, Edward gets descriptive, and I'm like, okay, give me the game.
It really does. I wonder how many people, when reading Midnight Sun, or even rereading Twilight, played the soundtracks while listening. Because when I started rereading Twilight, I, for sure, on certain parts, I was like, okay, Bella's Lullaby coming up. And I did that.
Yeah, I did.
The same with.
I did that. I do that with Tremble for My Beloved with the car scene. And then Spotlight when they're coming to the school.
Yeah. It's a necessity. If you haven't listened to the soundtracks while reading Twilight, New Moon, Breaking Dawn, Eclipse, Midnight Sun.
Are you really a Twilight fan if you don't listen to Possibility when you get to those blank pages in New Moon?
Imagine just getting to those blank pages, but taking your time flipping them, just flipping
yes,
super slowly.
Oh my god.
Jeez, but highly suggest that. So
it's a whole different feeling.
So we're starting off with this episode will be chapters 21 to 25, and then episode 13 is going to be 26 to the end. So let's jump right into it, because there's a lot to unpack in these last couple chapters.
There is.
So we left off with them inviting Bella to go to play baseball. And this entire part, there was some new stuff that we got in this first chunk. But then there's a lot of new stuff that we got in this last bit.
I know.
A lot. This is most stuff that we know, and a lot of this chunk is
what we didn't know.
And I think it would have been a whole other side. So, it starts off with them going to, is this the part, oh my god, this is the part where, he takes Bella home.
Yes.
And this is already after they've shared their first kiss, and she met his family. They're all in their cute little cuteness. And this is the part where they were in the car, and when they got there, Billy and Jacob were there at Charlie's house.
Yeah.
And I believe, I can't even, let me see, where is it? Because I have to read it. Because at this point, Edward's feeling himself. He's about it. And I think, I'm not sure what page, oh look, here it is. I think he wanted to get down and kind of threaten them a little bit, but he was Carlisle would not, would not like that.
Didn't want to disturb the peace.
Yeah. So to kind of mess with Billy, to kind of because Billy knows oh my god, this part I was reading and I was like, Edward, oh my goodness. He leaned over to give Bella a kiss goodbye, but just to mess with Billy, he put his lips to her throat rather than her lips.
I know. I was. Oh my god. I would die right then and there.
I would have passed out. I'd be like, Billy, you gotta go.
Too
Bye,
many
Billy.
overstimulation of emotions. I would just. Ugh.
And I think at this point they've only shared 2 kisses.
Yeah.
They did right after the meadow, and then when he was taking her to his parents' house, and she fainted. So he's just like going from 0 to 100 like really quickly.
God, why are we going so fucking fast?
I know. And then I think it's just so funny that it says that Billy was agonized shouting in his head. Billy was pissed.
Probably calling him every word in the book like this. Ugh.
Yeah. So the whole reason that Billy came over this time was to drop off like fish fry, and Charlie wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
This is the part where Billy threatens Bella a little bit, but she gives him sass. She tells, I don't know what she says, but she told him like it's none of your business, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Or no.
Yeah. She was basically like, what is Charlie's concern in regards to my business is my business, wouldn't you think? Like, just basically telling him, it's none of your business, it's my business. If I want to tell him, or I think he's unsafe, then I should be the one to decide.
Oh, and then this one, she basically hints to Billy that she knows about the Cullens. So she says, you probably don't know this, but the Cullen family has an unpleasant reputation on the reservation. And she was like, actually, I did know that. But that reputation couldn't be deserved, could it? Because the Cullens never set foot on the reservations, do they? And Billy was livid. He was like, how does she know? She knows.
Damn.
And I just love that we get this scene, like this from Edward's perspective, because in Twilight we just saw like their conversation, like what Bella was thinking, but here we get to see what Billy was thinking in his head.
Yeah. Poor Jacob saying, oh man, I'm a moron. He wanted me out of the way. He was all like, dang it was a trap.
Look, Midnight Sun makes me like Jacob a little bit.
See, it's only up until Eclipse that I really just don't like Jacob, because in here and in Twilight and in New Moon, I do love him. I'm like, he's so, like when he calls Bella's her scar from James in New Moon, he's like, that's your funny scar. I thought it was the most purest thing ever.
Yeah, it really is.
He's so pure in this.
I know. He really is, and that makes me sad because things took a wrong turn for him.
They did. They really did.
Okay, so and then she also he tells her, you seem well informed about the Cullens, more informed than I expected, and she said maybe even better informed than you are. And she's just like reeling it in at this point. Edward's like, and I think Edward would have been proud of her like sassiness.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically all that happens is that they end up leaving. And then I think they don't go this is one thing that I loved, is because after they left, Edward went to go follow Billy and Jacob while they were driving, and while they were driving, in Billy's head, he was remembering the phone call that Carlisle had made to Billy when they moved back.
Yeah, saying that they were coming back.
I love that we get it, but it just hurt. It sucks so bad because Carlisle was being so nice and genuine to him, and Billy was like, "You're a monster. You're evil."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why Billy had, like, those views and frustrations, because it's like, he knows what he is. He doesn't know if they are true to their word, that they would, like, they may believe that they are, good vampires, but to them, they still have the views that you're a vampire. You're always going to have that urge to be what your nature is. And I think that's why he always just felt, concerned.
Yeah. And I get it too, but I think it's really super cool that we were able to get this. Because, I mean, we never saw this. This is something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So he followed them to make sure that he wasn't gonna do anything irrational, or that he wasn't gonna tell Charlie.
Yeah.
Break the treaty. So if the vampires break the treaty, what happens? They can kill them?
Yeah, so I think so. Yeah, the treaty is that they can't go on to the reservation, and if they bite a human, then it gives the wolves the right to attack them. Because
And then
huh?
no, thank you. My brother.
I know, I saw him peeking and I was like, aw.
He's like, your LaCroix. You always record with your LaCroix. No, and then there's no rules for the werewolves. They can't, like, the only one is that they can't, like, out them.
Yeah, they're not supposed to talk about the legends to people who, are not, are of their tribe. That's why Edward was so mad when he found out Bella knew from Jacob, and why Billy looked so kind of like concerned why Bella knew, unaware that it was Jacob, because the rule is that they can't say anything. Like, they're not supposed to. They can't, because then I don't think they would do anything. I don't think Carlisle would do anything. It was just like, it would just cause, problems, because it's like, okay, your one job is to not say what we are. But of course, the younger generation, like Edward had pointed out, they were not going to think that the legends that their, parents and grandparents talked about were real. They thought it was just some scary story.
Yeah.
Little do they know, not until New Moon, that's when they realize, oh, it's real. Because then Sam shifts, and then it's like, oh boy.
And then Sam shifted because what vampire came in?
I think it was Laurent or Victoria, because Victoria was constantly coming back.
Yeah.
Unless it was because I think they said that Sam shifted a year before the others did. He would be shifting. He had started shifting around this time. Yeah.
Maybe it was when, like, Victoria and James and them came.
Yeah, because there were too many vampires in the same proximity.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's probably why. I think it's in the illustrated guide, actually, which I have here. So maybe in between filming, I'll check and see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, also, if y'all hear screaming in the background, my brother's screaming at our cat, so they're probably trying to eat his food. So, after they followed them, he runs into Rosalie, or he was going home.
Oh, yeah, she was trying to leave.
Yeah. And, I think he told her, like, just please come to play baseball. And she was like, fine, but I get Emmett and Jasper.
Which, oh my god. And the fact that in the movie, Edward got Emmett.
Yeah.
So, I guess they were like, no, that's not fair.
That's true. So, and then Emmett was so happy when Edward got home and told Emmett that he got Rose to play. He was so happy.
Yeah.
I love that. I love Emmett. He's so great. Emmett appreciation.
I know.
Then What? And yeah, he just go back. He went back to go tell like Carlisle about Billy and to go change because because they Emmett and Jasper was gonna go hunting because he wanted to be ready for the
Yeah.
whatever for the baseball game. But
I,
was he like in the rain or did he like go and jump into a lake or something? Because Esme told him, Edward dear, I can hear you dripping on my floors. Please change into something dry and mop that up.
I think it was raining. Remember, a storm was coming, so it was gonna start
Oh
raining.
yeah.
So it was probably like just barely drizzling or starting to rain when he was following Billy.
Yeah. So then he changes to go get Bella, and he said that he just dressed for Charlie this time. Love
Mm.
that. And he tucked the bottle cap into the pocket of his new jeans because he's keeping her lemonade bottle cap.
No.
How cute. You would be such a cute idea for like merch for like anyone to do. I don't know, maybe us. But like a lemonade bottle cap, like pin, or like
Aw,
a necklace, or I don't know.
that'd
Just
be cute.
cute things.
Yeah.
So then when he got there, um he was already listening to their conversation, and he was like, that's when we get the whole, I thought you didn't like any boys in town, and she's like, well, Edward doesn't live in town. Oh, and then we get this, I think this was pretty much like the same to me as in like the movie Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, like, it's pretty much the same. So that's not anything new. But when they get to the whole reason that he brought the Jeep was so that Bella didn't have to run the whole way because he knew that last time she had got sick from it. So
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, love.
What a considerate guy.
Yes. The whole interaction when they formally meet is just wonderful.
And then it was so funny because he tells her, "You smell so good in the rain," and she says, "In a good way or in a bad way?" And I was like, he said, "You smell good, Bella. What do you mean in a good way or a bad way?" And he said, "Both, always both." Edward.
Oh.
Okay, so they drive to the place, and then they have to get down. They go onto the she jumps on Edward's back. Did they kiss somewhere here?
I think they kiss before they actually like go to the field. Like once they got out of the Jeep, I think maybe they did.
Yeah. I remember that. Let me.
Oh, right here. It's
Right, yeah.
482.
Yeah, 482. Let me go to it. Oh yes, cause oh my god, oh this one's another one. I was like, oh my goodness, Edward, what the heck? Are you still worried now, Edward?
You'll be the death of me. I swear you will.
And it was so cute because he started kissing her way across her cheek and paused right at the edge of her mouth and said, "Would I let a tree hurt you?" Oh my gosh, I can't.
God.
This is just too much for me.
Mm.
It's just too much. It's too much.
I find it so funny how because he had ended up doing the like bringing the Jeep halfway and then running with her when the Jeep couldn't go any further. It's so funny how when she's on his back and because he's fast, so it was probably like a split of a second, and he's all like, "It's over, Bella," and she was like, "Oh." And then she fell off of his back, and he starts fucking laughing. I wanted Edward's laugh in the movie.
Yeah, there's so many playful times that they have here that I just wish that we would have gotten it.
Oh, I know. I
Like, just
totally
to
just bit.
visualize it, to see it.
I totally just bit my nail off. Oh my gosh. I don't even know why. It's probably because I'm stressed. When I'm stressed about school, I tend to like bite my nails more.
I feel you. Actually, well, because I got Valentine's Day nails, and I got them pretty short because I do my personal training. But one of my friends, I knew her in high school. She's a nail tech, and she's starting to like do TikTok and stuff like that. And I think her and I are gonna do a collab, and she's gonna like design Twilight nails for me.
Sorry, I hiccup. That's so cool.
We'll see how that goes. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't want like faces on them. I just want it like very subtly Twilight themed, you know?
Yeah. You could do like um you could do like the ribbon from Eclipse, like a chess piece for Breaking Dawn. Maybe
Yeah.
the flower of New Moon, an apple.
Yeah, we'll get together and I'll tell her just come up with your best ideas.
Do a lion and a lamb.
Oh, that'd be so cute. But like very aesthetic line and lamb.
Yes, like the silhouette, like a silhouette of Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's gonna be cute. So
Okay, they have this whole interaction after they kiss, and then they said, "I love you." On 486, he said, "I love you." I told her. It's a poor excuse for what I'm doing, but it's still true.
oh
I
my.
can't.
Oh, okay.
I love how this chapter is just us like gushing over Edward, because geez. And then they kissed again, and he said, "Now please try to behave yourself." And he said that he was speaking more to himself than her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Edward. Let's see. So they get there, all the family's there. And I think
Was Esme the one that said utterly ridiculous? Will thought it for Rosalie, or was that Rosalie thinking that about?
that's what I was wondering right now, because I was like,
I think it was Esme.
I think so. Oh, because right before that, Rosalie yanked her, like they were Rosalie and Esme were like holding hands or something, and Rosalie yanked her hand out of Esme, and I think that's when Esme was like utterly ridiculous because Rosalie was being a little unfair.
Yeah. And then Emmett's all like, "It'll be okay once we start."
Yeah. And then oh, I think also Edward had asked Emmett not to try to scare Bella. And so he was like, "Don't worry, I promised." This is where we get our little, because we haven't really seen any like chaotic twin moments from Emmett and Bella, but they kind of have this like they have something like a little back and forth here. Because Emmett goes up to them and was like, "Was that you? We heard Edward." Esme asked her that. And then Emmett said, "It sounded like a bear choked in." Bella was like, "That was him."
And he was so happy that she went along with the joke.
Oh yeah, Emmett was so happy.
Yes.
And then Edward was like, "That was being unintentionally funny," but that's when she fell, right?
Yeah.
And then Alice is being herself and like full speed, going to her full speed, and like stopping right before she gets to Bella.
I think it's raining where I'm at. I love it.
That sounds perfect.
I know. It does look like it. There's like one little speck of blue in the sky and the rest is gray, and I think it was raining last night, so.
Oh, it was sprinkling like all day yesterday. Like the really light drizzle.
I love that.
And then it was so funny because because Alice came, she was like, "It's time," and then perfect like thunder right after. And then it was like eerie, isn't it? And then he winked at Bella. Oh my gosh. I just like okay, I'm Team Edward through and through, but like give me Emmett. I want Emmett. Like I don't think I'd be able to date Edward because he's too much like, we said his moon is Cancer probably or something like that.
we
Uh,
we were like Gemini, Capricorn, and Aquarius as like
something
oh
I
no no
had.
no no Gemini, Capricorn, Cancer. I think
I,
for him, and it just was too much
it's
in
too
his.
much. I don't think I'd be able to handle that. I know Emmett is either Aries or Leo, and I vibe with my Aries and Leo people.
Yes.
So give me Emmett, and I would be happy. I'm gonna write a fanfic, but instead of it's gonna be the exact same story as Twilight, but instead it's gonna be your name and Emmett,
Yes. Oh my god,
and
yes.
an
Put
AU where Rosalie actually ended up with Edward, and Edward is the one who found Emmett and wanted and wanted Carla to save him instead. So now Emmett is a lone wolf, and
yo.
he's not this brooding person who hates his existence. He's just this like happy guy who's happy to be where he's at.
I would so read that. Put it on Wattpad
It's,
AO3.
it's happening. I'm gonna start it right now.
Yes.
Um, and then it was so funny because she grinned at him, and then Emmett glanced at Edward and said, "I like her."
Yes.
I love that.
Oh,
So we start playing. We get the amazing baseball detail from Edward.
this was. Oh my gosh. Seeing him talk about the thing, and then the fact that like when Rosalie had smirked because like what was it? She had the bat and when she like curled inward away and all that, Edward glared at her for being like this like are you seriously acting like this? And she's all like, you wanted me here. And then but it was enough to distract her and get a strike. And so and I thought that was so funny because it's all like their freaking glaring stance saying no, got her a strike, and then finally she was able to hit it.
Yes, and I love also that Esme here is like really motherly to Bella, and
Yes.
she's just like talking to her and showing her how to play and stuff. Oh, it's just gorgeous. She's
Oh,
such a she's an icon.
yes. I'm trying to find where was it? Because the thing that got me, oh, was it 493 or was it 494? Rosalie and Edward were arguing, because of the game about something that happened. And then Carlisle gets into it. And it was like they were all shook because Carlisle was never one to argue or get too involved in the competition. But he gets into it. And I wanted to hear that combo. But we just got like, we just can just imagine what was being said.
I know, and I think I also one of my favorite parts about the baseball scene in movies, besides the iconic like Alice pitching and then the music, is when Edward and Emmett like get up and they like hit each other, and when they fall on the floor, well, I don't want to say it was Edward because this is like 100% Robert. He flicked off Emmett, and I was just like, but I see stuff like that happening, like it with this version, I see it, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes. So I remember I had pointed that out in a TikTok months ago, and people did not they did not realize that he had did that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's just so funny because you're like, that's not Edward, that's Robert.
That's
like,
Robert.
100%.
Ugh.
Love it. So basically they're just explaining the game here, and it's just like Bella was actually enjoying herself, and I love it.
Yes. Ugh, vampire baseball. MLB ain't got nothing on that.
I know. And we just get this game. It's just really cute. Like it's very in detail. Edward goes a lot into detail about the game.
Yeah. And then
okay, go for it.
Oh,
No,
I was just gonna like yeah. And then at the end of the game is when Alice sees, and it's like automatically everyone is just like, oh shit, what do we do? And
Yeah.
it see, it's just like the thing is that it said like, okay, so they're running. And Edward's like, because this always got me like wondering, like, why the hell could he not get Bella out of there? And because Carlisle's like, can you make it? And he's all like, not on foot. And I'm like, okay, does this mean that they were coming in the same direction where the Jeep was parked, and it would have been too risky? Because if that was the case, then why couldn't he just run the other way?
I think from what I had remembered was that the way that I saw this here was that they were separated. Like it wasn't all three of them together yet. Like they were all in different parts of the woods scouting out the Cullens to see like what like if something were to happen, like that like, you know, whatever. But I think what was really interesting was well, they end up, you know, the vampires end up coming, right? What's it called? When what's her name? Victoria and was really like like not sketchy, but like skittery, like didn't want to be there, like
Yeah.
she was ready to leave, like if anything went wrong.
Yeah, because I think what happened was Edward figured it out that like she had some sort of enhanced self preservation, which we know is her talent. So it's like she could feel threatened by the Cullens, seeing that how many there were, and I think, and so it was like she was skittish because she like her body, it was like her mentality was telling her, you don't want to get there. This could be dangerous. It's like she was trying to automatically find different escape routes because, yeah.
Yeah, and then, so this is where we find out. Another thing that was like that always pissed me off in the movies, pissed me off in Twilight, is he tells her to take her hair down.
Like, what was the reason?
She could have left her hair in a ponytail and put it in her shirt, but he asked her to let her hair down, and it's blowing in the wind. Like I'm like, hello, that's not that smart.
So stupid, I swear. What then again, I'm not surprised because we kind of already established that Edward's not smart. He is not the smartest Cullen. He does not. He disappoints me.
So they end up coming, and what's really interesting.
Are we transitioning to chapter 22 now?
I think so, because this one ends because a good part of this is Alice's and her vision, right? Because she's like like she's seeing like what they're like what's gonna happen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that we get from this chapter on 499. This was really nice to me because 499 was the last page of 2021, and you flip, and then chapter 22 starts on page 500.
Yeah.
That was so like satisfying. I was like, yes, Stephanie Meyer, you do that.
I love that when that happens.
Yeah. But yeah, so then we end it with them getting there to where they are. So chapter 22, The Hunt. This is the chapter where
I'm sorry,
I don't even want to talk about it.
This whole chapter was insane. And the fact that, like, first of all, we got Laurent thinking about Rosalie, which was...
Great. I mean, great.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I mean, she's taken, but you can look but not touch. When we get into what happened to like why it took so long for them to like realize Bella was human, I was like, I did not know that could happen. He could do that.
And it makes me mad. It makes me mad. So mad. Okay. So basically they get there, we get, you know, the descriptions of them. We get that Victoria's like okay, well, she's like, why are we here? There's too many of them. Um, and so he was like, okay, they introduce themselves. Um, where I'm trying to find, so it says, oh, so it says Jasper lacerated with scars on every visible portion of his skin. And I think what I found out was super cool is that Jasper doesn't just have scars on his arms; he's covered in scars.
Yeah, they're like on his
Like,
neck, like.
but
Does
it's
he
just
have?
like not visible to human eyes.
Yeah, they're very faint. But if you're a vampire, then your vision is more sharp. You can see them and distinctly see them. But yeah,
Imagine how fucking cool he looks to vampires, though.
yeah,
He's
like
like,
he.
what up? Like he's covered in scars.
I'm covered in battle scars.
Yeah, for real.
And the whole and just Edward's amazement by this next like section with how he looks at Jasper, but he finds himself so disinterested and bored looking at him, and he's like, wait, I've never felt this way. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so it says here that Jasper was concentrating so hard that if he was human, he would be dripping in sweat. And he said, I'd never seen him do this before or even guessed that it was possible. Was this something he developed during his years in the South? Camouflage. So basically, what he was doing is he was making himself, Alice, Esme, and Bella look like the most uninteresting people in that pack of vampires. And I was like, part of me is like, Jasper, I love you so much for doing that. I love you.
I was like, wow, okay. I have a
And
lot of respect.
it's so cute because it's like Alice, of course. Esme, love that. That's his mom. And then Bella, like this person he doesn't even know. Like
I know.
he just feels like he has to protect her, which I mean they do, right?
Yeah.
And that's why none of them had realized that Bella was there because Jasper was basically hiding her from them, right?
Yeah, he was extending himself to protect the most vulnerable members of the family. And
this is why I think we should have gotten Midnight Sun as the first book instead of Twilight as the first book, because then a lot of other things are explained. Well, not like just because more things are way more explained in Midnight Sun than Twilight.
Yeah.
But like the whole shield thing that Bella's able to do and kind of project it is more like hints to it more here than it does in Twilight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it just oh my gosh, and the fact that I kind of love it how it's like a nod to the head that Rosalie can take care of herself, because it says that he was protecting the most vulnerable. So I mean, obviously he's gonna do Alice even if she's capable of protecting herself, because that's his mate. But
Yeah.
Esme has been described as not a fighter, and then which honestly pisses me off whenever I rewatch the movies after rereading the books, because it's like we see more of Esme in the fights than Rosalie, when it's known that Esme wasn't a fighter but Rosalie can. And so
Yeah.
it's like it was all like Rosalie, she can handle her own. I was all like, yes, my strong woman who got her revenge.
I know he wasn't, but I think another reason why he wasn't covering Rosalie is one, because Rosalie's a bad bitch, right? Two, because she is Emmett. So if anyone to even like I'd be terrified of Emmett, like
exactly.
So that's another reason. So love that. And so then they just have their little casual conversation about the hunting, they talk about Denali. They talk about if they they want to have more players. Carlisle had invited them back to the house to talk about their past and all that stuff. Alice is having visions. It's not quite clear what exactly happening yet. But Laurent's mind, there was nothing interesting. James was also chill for this moment. Victoria was looked terrible. Victoria was just going through it. She really was. She was. This is Victoria looked for a trap rigid with dread. So Victoria is just like, I wanna leave.
Oh, it's like that SpongeBob meme. I'ma head out. Alright,
And then, because I'm trying to get to the part where,
it was 5:05 is when they were just about to turn around, and then it was like and then so it's as soon as Carlisle had said, Emmett and Alice, you can go with Edward and Bella to the Jeep. As soon as he said Bella's name, there was a breeze, and her scent was immediately like,
yeah,
there. So
and it says here that Jasper's camouflage wasn't strong enough to like deter that kind of focus. So, Jasper pulled the concealment back.
Yeah.
And only protecting him and Alice at that moment.
Yeah. And Edward said, I realized it was better that he do this, that it would only alert these nomads to his extra talents if he tried to keep Bella obscured now, but he did feel a little bit betrayed that Jasper did that.
Yeah.
And then boom, we got the forward and the crouch and
the growling
and Laurent is just shook. He doesn't understand what's going on. He can't believe that there's a human there, and the fact that they're protecting the human, and it's like it's like Victoria. See, this is the thing with Victoria, which honestly makes me sad, because it's like she obviously, part of her did not want James to do this and to hunt her, because she felt like she was like, they're outnumbered, it's not going to end well. But yet even though they were mates, it was clear that James was only really using her to an advantage and didn't really love her to the extent that she loved him, which honestly makes me upset, because the extent that she goes to avenge him when he didn't really care about her to that extent. I don't think, if the roles were reversed and she was the one that died in this book, in Twilight, I don't think James would have
cared. Yeah
he probably would have been sad, but he would have literally just continued on his own.
And then we see that James is still in that moment. James wanted to kill her too. James was trying okay, can I do it now? But he realized it was not. He's like, I'll die. I will die.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they all end up, there's kind of it's not a peaceful leaving, but they end up leaving, right? But, they end up going to the car, to the Jeep, and they go with Alice and Emmett. So it's Alice, Emmett, Edward, Bella.
Yeah.
And this is probably one of my favorite parts of the book, because they get into the Jeep, strap her in, and so Emmett's there strapping in in Bella. Because Bella was in shock, right?
Yeah.
And so in the front it's Edward and Alice, and in the back it's Bella and Emmett. And they're driving, and Edward's like, okay, we're gonna take you anywhere, and Bella's just like, where are you taking me?
Yeah.
And I love it because she snaps at Edward.
Yeah.
She tells him you have to take me home.
One thing that I'm surprised wasn't mentioned is Edward kind of being a little because it says on 509, it was like something caught his attention. Alice uncloaked as Jasper moved away from her. There was a flicker of surprise as he took in her face for the first time, perhaps wondering why he hadn't thought to appraise her before, but that surprise did not resolve into words before he turned and dashed after the others. So it makes me wonder, how come there was no reaction from Edward that James recognized Alice? Because I feel like that would have made him even more on high alert if he realized James knew who Alice was, and he saw and knew the reason why. Because I think that would have made the whole sequence with Bella even more kind of intense, because now it's all like, okay, Bella is a threat, but he also may have his eyes on Alice.
Yeah, then we learn something after that, later on about that whole thing. So they're in the Jeep and Edward's just driving, and I love it because Bella's screaming at her, at Edward. Edward's like, shut up. And then basically Alice is super calm and she goes, Edward, pull over now. Like, Edward, you need to pull over.
Yeah. And he just loses it. Like, he's a tracker, Alice. And Emmett obviously knew what that meant. We saw that in Twilight, how Bella was thinking. Emmett responded, so he obviously had an idea of what that meant. And then again, Alice literally was like, as he's exploding at her, Alice does again, just pull over. Like,
pull over. Yeah.
We're gonna crash, and the only one who's gonna die is Bella because we can't.
Yeah, exactly. So then, so she knows like what's gonna happen. She tells him like he's gonna hunt tonight, whatever. Alice is still super calm. Bella was like, you can't leave Charlie there. So then that's when what happened? It says, oh, they want to wait for him to kill him, right? But then they were like, no, like, we can't do that. We had, like, whatever. They're just going back and forth between the different options. And then I think Alice and, they're having a conversation in their head,
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's Emmett and Edward. And then basically, oh, it's so funny because it was like Bella was like, "Does anyone want to hear my plan?" And and then Edward was like, "No."
I can just imagine that because I've seen movies or TV shows where people, there's like a sequence like that with someone saying, "Does anyone want to hear my plan?" And then everybody else is like, "No." But Bella don't give a shit. She's gonna say it anyway.
Yeah, so basically, I think she had a good plan. I think Bella had a good plan at first. It kind of, it's not. But yeah, so basically they end up saying we're gonna split up, and then they go to. They take Bella to her dad's house.
Yeah, and I don't like reading this from his point of view because we get to see kind of like what Charlie was thinking, and I started crying when I read this. I don't even want to talk about it because it just, no. Charlie.
Okay, we're gonna have to get to it. Basically, they end up taking so that's already chapter 23, right? So we end chapter we end chapter 522 with them agreeing that Alice and Jasper will take Bella to Phoenix, basically.
Yeah, and then fucking how Alice was offended when Edward said, "Can you handle this?" And it was just, and then he freaking like smirks at her saying, "Keep your opinions to yourself." Like, because she keeps trying to be, telling him, why try and stop it when you can change her now? And then,
Yeah.
because if he does, then James doesn't have any interest in her now. So,
Exactly.
but, oh, I would have smacked him if he said that to me.
Honestly. So then, 523, page, chapter 23 is goodbyes. This is when, you know, they go to they go to they go to Bella's house, and it was so funny because Emmett climbed the tree. Alice had to push the Jeep or something like that, something crazy. And then I love that she told him, she was like, I love you. I will always love you no matter what happens now. And then I think she said, like, don't listen to anything I'm about to say, or something like that.
Yeah. Because she basically starts saying, I hate you. Like, I should have never met you.
Yeah. And then we get the whole, like, go away, Edward, and, you know, the slamming of the door, and she goes to her room, and that's when she's like, oh, I'm gonna leave. And then it's just so sad. Oh, and then the tracker was in the area. He was like half a mile out. And then he like mentioned seeing Emmett in the trees because Emmett was like in a freaking tree. Just because it's Emmett.
Oh my god.
And then Alice is just pushing the Jeep, like, jeez, I love it. I can just imagine seeing tiny Alice, 5'2", pushing this Jeep.
Well, this is Book Alice, remember? She's 4'8".
Oh yeah, she's 4'8".
So even tinier. That Jeep is towering over her.
Oh yeah, it's probably like more than half her size.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh, and then he says, Bells, you can't leave now. Oh my goodness, I can't.
No.
I just can't. This is just hurts. It hurts a lot.
This really hurts. Oh,
Poor Charlie.
Yeah. And then this basically is kind of, the next couple pages are similar to how it is in Twilight. They're on their way to the house.
Oh wait, before we get to that though, Edward read Charlie's mind, and it said his mind swirled almost like vertigo. In his thoughts was another face, so much like Bella's and also tear-stained, but this woman's eyes were pale blue.
It was Renee!
Oh my gosh.
He was having, like, flashbacks.
It's so sad. So then, yeah, basically, Bella's crying, Edward starts driving, and then they go to their house.
Yep, and this kind of just is similar to how it was in Twilight with the talk, and then with Laurent.
So what happens is Alice and Jasper are going with Bella.
Yeah.
Rosalie and Esme are staying back to watch Charlie.
Yeah, they're gonna stay in Forks.
Yeah, and then Emmett, Carlisle, Edward are hunting, which was different in the movie because it was Emmett, Rosalie, and
Edward. Yeah. We didn't even really see Carlisle until they were driving, like, to the airport or something.
Yeah.
And then Esme, Esme, in that phone call, he said Esme and Rosalie are staying behind to look after your father. So, yeah.
Yeah. This part is pretty much the same, right? It's like the trading the clothes, and Rosalie being pissed.
Rosalie's very pissed.
Seeing Laurent.
Laurent's basically kind of like upset. He's upset because when Edward's reading his thoughts, Laurent thinks, he's like, I'm sorry, and then he says, sorry I ever met those demons. I should have known better than to play with fire. Damn boredom made me foolish. Of course it would. And then he ensured James would never quit till they were both dead. Is that if strangers live in like in some other world, or they think they do. So it was like Laurent was out of it. He knew that James was not going to stop. He was tired of the games and the schemes, because Laurent was very cunning and someone who stuck with people who he thought was going to, benefit him. And James was that. And then it just got too much.
Yeah. So
poor Laurent, he could have really... Huh?
I was gonna say that I really like that Alice sees that the woman's gonna follow the truck, and they're gonna leave after that. So what they plan it really meticulously, that someone's driving Bella's truck, and then James is following someone else. So they planned it really, really safe, or like they did like a really sneaky thing. So basically, and then it's like, make the call, and he called, and he said clear, and then they left, and Bella left. So basically, the tracker is running behind Edward and Carlisle and Emmett. And Edward said every now and then he would catch his thoughts or something like that. And this was just so sad to me. Like, I don't know, like, I can just imagine, like, I doubt they're having much conversation during this because they don't want to talk loud so the tracker can't hear them. So they're just sitting in silent, and I can just imagine Edward feels like a shit person. I mean, he usually already feels like a shit person, but, like, especially in this moment, he probably feels terrible. Carlisle is probably just, like, I don't know if Carlisle is, like, rethinking, like, trusting Edward as much as he has, but he's probably, like, in his own thoughts and wanting to make sure that Esme is okay. And then Emmett's probably just, like, thinking about eggs or trees, or Emmett's probably just looking at the clouds and trying to make out shapes of them.
Yeah.
Because it's Emmett, so why not? So, basically, the way that they would communicate with each other is that they would send text messages to each other. But, like, so Edward texted him, Bella needs to eat at least 3 times every 24-hour period. Hydration is important. She should have water on hand. Ideally, 8 hours of sleep. And then,
it's, I guess, so, I think that's what, because when we're talking about the text messages, that was one thing that, like, took a while for me to kind of understand and realize, Y is yes, N is no.
No.
Mm-hmm. I was like, because I'm like, why are they sending back letters? Seriously? And then I realized.
Yeah, I know that Alice can probably type paragraph messages, but I just knew she was being so petty, just being like, why? And like, there was no reason. She could have just said yes or no. But I think also because the conversation they had was about turning Bella, like, right then and there.
Yeah.
And that's what he didn't want Alice to tell Bella, because if Bella would have asked Alice to turn her, I think Alice would have turned her.
Yeah.
Like, if Bella was like, Alice, we're gonna go against what Edward says. He's gonna forgive us he's gonna have to forgive us. Please turn me right now. And Alice would have been like, okay.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's fix the problem before it can get bigger.
Yeah, and that would have been like plot twist.
Yeah. So it's revealed.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I was saying it's revealed that Edward was thinking about getting, like, Tanya's, the Denali's, because they weren't that far. Because he was like, oh, more manpower. He was sure that they would help. But what was it that was the reason they ended up? Oh, so that was the one thing. They were too close to the ocean, and that's what it was. they were too close. The Denali's were too close to the ocean, and he feared that if they went closer, then James would have jumped in the water and swam.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, sorry, I keep taking out I just switched out my retainers. Like, they're new. I just put them on, like, right before we started recording. And I have to file them down because they're irritating my tongue.
I hate that.
So, that's it. If you guys see me messing with my teeth a lot in the YouTube, that is why. So, sorry. So, basically, yeah, they text. And this is the part where we get a little of the tracker realizes what has happened. Where James has realized, because basically what happens is that they're in a forest. I think they're in a national park or something like that. And Emmett Edward said, "Emmett, I breathed, I'll buy you a new Jeep." And he laughed and said, "No worries." So basically what happened is that they were driving. They're moving fast, they're driving full speed probably, and they're gonna open the doors and jump out and let the Jeep just crash into something. So basically, the tracker thought that they were in they had like a cabin in the woods or something like that. And then they got out of the Jeep, and then he realizes that it was a trap.
Yeah.
And I think they were so close to getting him here. They were very close. And then if it wasn't for, well, Edward was fast, so Edward is going, super fast. But if it wasn't for what had happened, I think what had happened was that he ended up jumping into a lake.
Yeah. It was like a river. It was a long body of water that he knew he could be miles away by the time that Emmett and Carlisle had got to him.
Yeah, and so basically they all jumped into the water.
Yeah.
They were all swimming. And then it was great because Alice is also helping them in this time. She texted and said Southern Tip. So then they went over there, and then they were just looking, for him. And then it was so funny because Alice kept texting N like anytime that they would do something wrong, she would be like, no.
She's probably seeing all of it play in her head, and she's like, "No, you stupid."
I know. And then they would wait for her to say either C, M, or Ed, and a yes or no for to follow the tracker, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there was some part of this that they should. I don't think they should have done, only because it was just playing into James's
game.
He loved this shit,
Yeah.
And it was just I feel like they could have gone about it a little differently, maybe. But
They probably could.
There's another lake that they get into. I think I don't know if they ended up getting close to him at some point. Oh, this is what happened. They left the lake and found a private airstrip.
Yeah.
And they said, "I cursed again." I just want to know what he cursed.
He probably Stephanie Meyer, let Edward say fuck.
I would bet it's fuck.
Let him say shit.
Something.
I mean, the most cuss words we've ever gotten in Twilight are dumbass and hell.
Jackass.
Come on, let them say fuck.
Edward can say fuck in this moment. He's I would say fuck in this moment. I would be like, Emmett, Carlisle, give me a moment. And I'd go into a barn and close the door and just say all the words in the book.
Oh my god, yeah.
So then James escaped by taking a small plane.
I didn't know he
And
could fly. Where'd he get his pilot license?
I'm like, what the heck? Because he's like a nomad.
Exactly. Unless I don't know much about James, but conspiracy theory. He was around when they first did the planes, and maybe that's how he learned how to fly.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeez,
How else would he know how?
I'm gonna say that he was in the Air Force or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, I know Victoria was like created in like the 1800s, and then she met James not that far along. So who knows? Maybe he was around when they first did like when aviation was first starting out.
Possible. It could also just be like maybe he was just like, let's wing it, and if it crashes, like I can't die anyways.
Exactly.
So he could just like jump out of it if it starts to fail. Then Alice has her vision because I think they're already at the hotel at this point, right?
Yeah, they are already in Phoenix at the hotel.
So basically, this is when Alice has her vision about the ballet studio, and they're just like, "What the heck," right?
Yeah.
They have like no idea. Then he talks to Bella. Basically, he was like, "Bella, like, I'm gonna go get you, and we're gonna go far, far away, and whatnot."
Yeah, and they get back to Forks. They reunite with Esme and Rosalie for a little bit, and it's when they're getting ready, that's when Alice calls again with saying that he's coming here. He's going after Bella's mom. Like he might have her mom.
Yeah. So then that's when they end up, going to because Edward started running to Seattle because they were going on the plane.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because are we? Oh no, this is the last chapter that we're gonna talk about for this episode. So we're already on chapter 25. So up until this point, we've got the baseball scene. James is hunting Bella. Bella's in Phoenix. They lost James because he magically knows how to fly a plane.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? Like, this is not happening. I was like, a plane? Oh my goodness. And then we find out that Alice has her ballet studio vision. James is going to Phoenix. And now we're on chapter 25. So when they ended up getting to Phoenix, this part, because it's daytime when they get there, right, to Phoenix.
It's daytime.
So Edward, I have this one picture of Robert Pattinson. He's in like black sweater, jeans. He has glasses and his hood on. And I was like, this is Edward when he like comes out, like when he exits the plane in Phoenix, because he's just like completely covered from head to toe. But basically, so they get there. He was like, I'm gonna see Bella right now. He wanted to see his girl. It says like my arms are folded so that my hands were hidden, and it's so funny because in the picture, Robert's hands are folded.
Could you just imagine this man in an airport? He has no fucking luggage, and he's walking around like that, covering his skin, sunglasses, indoors.
What a weirdo. So then they get there, to the airport.
I would just like to say that I was not satisfied by his reaction to seeing that that Jasper and Alice lost Bella. Because I understand he's in public and he has to keep his cool, but I wish he could have just been like, you had one job. You just
Yeah.
had.
But I mean, to be honest, after rereading Midnight Sun or Twilight, I was like, Bella's slick with it. Like,
She is.
she was like, she knew what she wanted to do.
She's smart. She got that. She calculating.
Yeah. So they get there. Edward's looking for Bella, and then he couldn't hear her mind, and then he found Alice. He found Alice and Jasper, but then Alice's mind was so chaotic, and that Edward was like, "What the heck?" You know, like, are you kidding me? So they see Alice has a memory of Bella pale and withdrawn, twitching with nerves. And then Bella walked away with Jasper because she was all nervous to go escape. That he was like, how could if I was him, I would be like, how could you not see that she was trying to pull a fast one on y'all? Jeez.
Especially because Bella was so smart to Bella had been so smart that she came up with that plan with how to leave Forks without Charlie, like, do anything. They should have realized, okay, maybe she's smarter than what we think, and she can easily con the back.
Yeah, but Alice had a really good reason for why they didn't go after her by themselves. He was like, she would have died. Like, I had the vision. She would have died. She had she was having visions, a mirrored room, and then the blood, so much blood, he said.
Yeah.
So, basically they were like, we need to go, like, save her, right? Bella gave Edward a note, but he didn't read it yet. And, so then they go and they're like, we need to go, like, it's time to go. And this is when they get to the parking garage. The Cullens are thieves. For good purpose.
Oh my god, this whole sequence, I was like, why couldn't we get this? I understand it was in Bella's perspective, but can you imagine if we got this race?
I think more people would have liked Twilight if we had got it.
Yeah.
Because, people are, like, people are always like, oh, Twilight, it's so girly, blah, 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 blah. The Cullens are badasses, dude.
Yeah.
And, like,
you saw how Edward broke into that ballet studio and
yeah, for real. So they're looking at all the cars, but then it was so funny because they're like, okay, we get an SUV, we can get a Mustang, a Nissan, but then, someone had Edward smelled the nitrous from the car like a weirdo, and they had a car. I don't even know what this car looks like. He said it was a souped up WRX STI. Like, what the heck even is that?
It's some kind of sports car, obviously fast, that they knew would get them there.
Orange and purple, which is disgusting. And so basically they had really tinted windows, so they were like, this is it, like, this is the car that we're taking. So they get into it. It has racing buttons that say go 1 and go 2. And basically that's the car, and it's so cool. This whole part when they're on their way to the ballet studio was the coolest thing ever, because Alice has the ability to show Edward 30 seconds into the future for the traffic purposes, which I'm like, Alice is a badass. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it just shows the extent of her power that I don't think was justified in the movies.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we see them kind of do that with the Breaking Dawn fight scene because she's able to show Arrow. We assume in the books she shows Arrow the, like almost 10 minutes of what the future holds. So they kind of did that, but I would have wished that we got something kind of like this where we see the extent of her power early on.
Yeah. So then they are driving. They are on the expressway, the freeway, whatever you call it, wherever you are. Over here we call it expressway.
We call it freeway.
Yeah. But so there, I wonder what they might call it. We should, because Emily from Remember Twilight, our friend, she's closest to Phoenix than I think any of us are, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder what they,
yeah.
I wonder what they call it. Highway maybe.
Highway. Yeah. Well, Stephanie Meyer's from Arizona.
Oh, she put freeway. So
yeah. So I guess they call it there because yeah, she's from Phoenix.
exactly. Okay, cool. So then they say freeway. I was wondering. People say different things, right?
Yeah.
So then they're like literally like Fast and Furious 6. Like literally what this entire scene is. Where I was like, sometimes I was reading and I had to like go back and read because I was like, my uneducated car brain like it does not understand what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So
I just hit my tooth with my piercing.
Oh no.
I hate it when that happens. I like hit it and then it hits the gums and ow.
Yeah, I get you. Basically, they're driving. There's they're on the freeway, the expressway, and whatever. And something happens where something was happening, and like Edward was gonna lose the side mirrors or something like that. Like,
oh wait, I think it was no wait. Okay, I can't remember if it was this. I know that there was an accident, so I can't remember if like he had to like go off road and then he lost the side mirrors because he hit like the
because he went onto the side. Yeah. And then it was cool. It was so cool because Alice can control her visions like to be 30 seconds ahead or whatever. But then also at the same time, like since she's getting such vivid future visions of Bella, so every so and so we would like every now and then we would see the road ahead, but then it would switch to what's happening with Bella. And he was like, Bella, just the road. And she was like, I'm trying. Because right now Bella was like in a parking lot or walking on the sidewalk or
yeah.
And so then they're driving. They are taking all of these Edward is speeding. He's going 145. He keeps clicking the go 1 buttons and
to like accelerate.
155, 170. Then Alice got a vision of Bella opening the door into the room. And then basically I think Emmett or Jasper right now was trying to calm down Alice or something like that. Because right now he was like super focused. Like he was like ready to like go, into, battle. Then they're setting up a roadblock. So at this point, I think the police are already onto them, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So they're setting up a roadblock, and then they set up a second, and she's showing him a map in her head, like it's just wild. Then they're going 180, like what the heck? And at this point, they have to switch cars. Like we have to switch cars. Like there's no possible way. So then they're showing all their possible options, and they ended up choosing a BMW, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I think they ended up choosing that. But at this point, Edward was like, "I just want to go," like because there was a motorcycle, and she was like, "You cannot go on the motorcycle by yourself. Like you need all of us there with you."
Oh my god, the thing where this is the funniest thing when it said it was the Corvette. They spot the Corvette and I guess what was it? Oh, oh no, it was a Cayenne. It was a Cayenne, and then she got out of the car and her face, face upset, and then Carlisle dashed toward her, and she had 1 second to, 1 second to react to his beauty, and then what happened? And then he had pricked her needle to make her unconscious, and I'm like, Carlisle.
He gave her like a sedative or something like that, right?
A sedative.
So, and then they ended up that's the car. So it was the white SUV that they ended up taking. So now the cops are not looking for the SUV right now. Because they're looking for the other car.
Yeah.
So they're driving over there, and they get into the new car. The poor lady's unconscious on the side of the street.
That is so. Oh my god, that is.
There was something had happened. A car. Oh, something. The cars were slamming on their brakes, and then but they slammed so hard that the airbags popped. But for the cars in front of them, but there was no fatalities, and they needed to get into the car like ASAP. Alice saw another vision, then they started speeding again. So they exit, they're taking all the roads and all that, and they ended up getting to something. I remember there was this one part where there's all these Alice is showing him all the lights, and he's like, I think he's just like passing them. No, right? He's not stopping. He's just like running through the stoplights.
Yeah, he's running through them. He's not stopping, or he's taking like turns to like
pass them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened here, but they were like, we need to be safe because if he hears this, like, she will die. So he had to slow down a lot because if James heard this car fucking going full speed, he would have been like, all right, you're dead already.
It's time.
It's time. So I think what had happened, they ended up getting onto a road that had a lot of trees or something like that.
Yeah.
So that they could get down and like run, right?
Yeah, because he had already known that he was gonna need to have a car for a getaway after, because he knew that there was probably gonna be a fight, that something was gonna happen, Bella was gonna be hurt. They needed to have some way of transportation to like get out so that they're not on foot.
Yeah. So that is the end of this first of episode
5. Well, 12.
Part 5.
Episode 12.
Episode 12. Wow. So we're about to stop this one and go and start recording our ending, the part that made me literally cry. I still have all the footage of me crying. But I wanted to post it on TikTok, but it's literally me on the toilet like, I can't stop crying.
That would so go viral.
It really would. I'm just like, how far is too far? I'm a teacher, so it's like, what is the limit of this? I can't have students be like, Miss, I saw you crying on your toilet on TikTok. That would be so embarrassing. But yeah, I cried. I finished it right before we had started our first episode of our first part of this Midnight Sun series, and I cried because it was over. Like, I finished it, and then I don't know. After I cried, I just couldn't stop crying, and it was just because of
No,
what happened. You know?
yeah, I had recorded myself when I got to like the last 3 pages. I had recorded myself, and it's just so like I was like crying, and then I just went like because it
Yeah.
was just like because it was like oh it's over. You know,
It was. Yeah.
waited so long, and I can't believe that like in May we're not like May. You know, honestly, May is not too far. Like May is gonna be 1 year since it was released. I mean, like announced that
Mm,
it was gonna be released. God.
I know. We'll see what happens, right?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. Well, that is it for episode 12. Um, this is going out on the February 8th, and then our next episode, episode 13, which will be the last part of the Midnight Sun series, will be out on a February 15th. And the good thing is that you will get one last Monday episode from us on the 22nd. So you literally got videos from us and content from us and every Monday of February. And that was just to show our love and appreciation for our listeners for
Yes.
Valentine's Day. And then after the 22nd, we'll be back to our regularly schedule. We're not sure what we're talking about at the 22nd yet. We'll figure it out. There's some things that have arose since we started that we can definitely talk about.
Yeah.
Chit chat.
Yeah.
So that is it. Tune in next time. We'll see you guys. Follow all of our social medias: Instagram at the Bite Podcast RR, TikTok at the Bite Podcast RR, and on TikTok we occasionally upload our some sneak peeks. We're trying to get Ree and I are very busy people. I'm a full-time teacher. She's a full-time student. She's in her last semester. So we try our best to put sneak peeks and put up content on our Instagram and TikTok, but just follow us so you can be there to see anything that we post. And in the summer or during spring break, and then during the summertime after Ree graduates, after I'm on summer vacation, we will have lots of fun because we'll be able to
We'll be able to have time.
we'll have time to do stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's happening, and yeah, I mean this has been great, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.